Today is one of the most incredible live stream events that we've had in a while, because we have my good friend and massively successful businessman, Alan Coughlin, founder of Landstill Global, a company that does $40 million a year plus, okay, in sourcing and fulfillment, which is absolutely incredible. He's one of the best in the game when it comes to these types of movements and logistic trends. And I wanted to go ahead and bring him here to go ahead and kind of showcase to you guys what's possible in this field, and also how to really know what is real and what is myth on the back end of e-commerce and product fulfillment. So everyone here can get a phenomenal idea as to exactly what to do moving forward in Q4, what to do moving forward as we get past Q4 to Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 again, and ultimately how to just run a proper and consistent business. So, before we actually get fully started, Alan, would you mind just giving everyone a bit of a background about who you are, what you do, how we met, and everything else in between that you think the people should know before we jump into this, and also a bit of a background about your company and the success of it as well?
Great. Okay, guys. Yeah, well, I'm 35 years old now. I moved to China 11 years ago, just as I finished college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I moved to China, did a year of study there. After my year of study, I still was unsure what I wanted to do. So I started learning Chinese part-time, teaching English part-time to pay for my Chinese lessons. And on the side, I started buying and selling products in China. From that, I actually loved the hustle. I loved going to factories, learning about quality control, lead times, MOQs, the good suppliers, the bad suppliers. And from there, my name just grew as the kind of the non-Chinese guy in China who can fix your problems, right? So we grew from word of mouth. Now I think I have over 100 staff. We have warehouses in Nevada, Henderson, Nevada, where I'm actually here right now. We have 40,000 square foot in Shenzhen, South China. We supply brands from all sizes that do $50,000 a month in revenue up to $5 million a month in revenue. Yeah, just kind of crushed it that way, Justin. We met many a year ago at some event in LA, which we had a really good time. Our views are the same on e-commerce, and we got along really well right there. And yeah, guys, that's it. I'm in this for the long haul. We have big hopes for e-com over the next few years. It isn't going anywhere. What I did, I kind of focused on, at the time, Amazon sellers. So I got some leads from some Amazon sellers where I would go to their factory, look at their supply chain, cut down their cost per unit, improve their quality, and just take a small fee off the top. So I was loving that. I was going all around China on motorbikes, buses, you name it, I've done it. When I grew from that, I was able to rent my first warehouse in South China, where we would, rather than me traveling to every factory to do a quality control, which is time consuming and costly, I would have the factory ship the goods to my warehouse, where I hired a few staff and we quality check them there together. And from there, we acquired our first dropshipping customer, where we absolutely just crushed it for them, because they were getting ripped off by Chinese agents. They didn't know who they were. They were scaling pretty hard. And when they came to me, I understood what they wanted. There was trust there already. And we just took over, crushed it. And that was in maybe 2016. And since then, we've been full on fulfillment, supplying, Shopify sellers, Amazon sellers, all D2C brands.
As someone who's getting into Q4, an e-commerce entrepreneur, let's say someone's doing maybe $10,000 to $50,000 a month. Okay. What do you say to those people who are getting into their first Q4? Maybe it's their first Q4 as an established brand. What are some of the big major moves and plays that you say make early, make now, and think about currently to really make yourself massively successful and progressive throughout the rest of the Q4 season?
Well, the biggest thing for me coming into Q4 is stock. All I've learned in the last few years coming into Q4 and you're ready to scale is stock. This doesn't mean that, if you're in the drop shipping mode and that's how you run and you don't like to hold too much inventory, that's fine. But communicate with your factory that you are scaling. You do need them to take a bit of risk with you, because you build a relationship with a factory. Let's say USA or global sellers don't understand and Chinese factories don't understand. You come into a partnership when you choose your agent in China, right? So they have to take some sort of risk to float you some stock coming into Q4. That's the biggest issue we see. People start to scale usually around mid-October. We always see November as Q4. October is like rolling up to it. Sales don't really spike around October in our business, but November is where it really hits hard. So yeah, get the factory to prepare some stock. You may not have to pay for it in advance, but prepare stock for you. Keep you updated on how many units they have in stock. So at least you are aware. So at least you don't scale when you can't fulfill the orders, and then all of a sudden you get PayPal blocked, bad Facebook score, you name it, you'll get shut down. You'll have a terrible Q4.
What amount would you say is proper for these people to go ahead and order when working with a company like yours? Like, what is a good amount to go ahead and foresee in terms of buying stock, holding, space in a warehouse, etc.?
So when you order products from a factory, it might take 10 days to manufacture the goods. Then in order for us to receive the goods, we have to place an order today, and in 10 days time, we'll have it. So for that customer, we like to hold 10 days of stock. Coming into Q4, lead times always increase. So you've got to communicate with your factory. How long is production for this SKU? And if you have 10 SKUs, for each SKU, what's the production lead time right now? Once you figure that out, you got to look at your daily sales. Multiply that by the lead time to find out how much stock I need to hold, or does my factory need to prep for me so I can hit my numbers. And if you back yourself, I know, Justin, with your advice, and you have a mentorship program, so I know like you help those guys scale and crush coming into Q4. If I backed my advertising and I thought I could 2x my sales coming into Q4, then you've got to 2x your kind of inventory levels.
Someone who's in Q4 who's has great ROAS and wants to scale further and being held back by not having stock or units, that's a very defeating feeling.
Like, we've had customers in the past that crush it during the year, constantly profitable, doing really well. Coming up to Q4, they don't put the order in like September or mid-September, and then they're scaling, and then there's a problem. Like, the factory can't get raw material. You forget about all that kind of stuff. It's never easy in production. If one of those suppliers gets, electricity shut down, or a hurricane comes in, or COVID shuts them down, which is the climate we're in now, you're done. Your Q4 is over. You won't be able to scale. You won't be able to get stock. So yeah, we've had those issues before.
In efforts to negotiate with a supplier, am I going to sacrifice quality of said product, or should I be willing to sacrifice quality of the product if it means getting it cheaper?
It's like there's a fine line. As I mentioned before, you create a partnership with your agent or your supplier, right? So you need them to be happy to do your order so that they service you for the next order. And the main thing is service you if there is an issue. So let's say you push them too hard on a production run, and then you find out that the quality isn't up to standard, or you're getting complaints. And usually your agent would kind of refund you on the shipping costs or whatever deal you have with them before you get started. But if you push them too much and they don't make money on the orders that they're fulfilling, and then you come back saying, hey, there's a quality issue, we want all this refunded, they have every right to say, I'm sorry, but we made nothing on this order, so we can't really sort you out here. You pushed us too hard. We're not interested in your future business, because what's going to happen next month is you're going to push us hard again. You're constantly checking other suppliers and saying, hey, this guy that you've never even met on Alibaba said he'll give it to you for $1 when the price is $2. It gets really frustrating to the factory, to the supplier. So in my opinion, when we take on a new SKU, a new customer, we research, let's say, 6 to 7 factories, because we don't know the market value of any one said new SKU, right? Unless we already know that category. So if it's a new product, my team will check 5 to 6 different factories, and we'll gather all the details, and then we'll break it down to 2 or 3 factories where we will present to our customer. And you'll have different lead times, different cost per unit. They're the main things, but the main thing is the location. If it's closer to our central hub in Shenzhen, we will hope that our customer chooses this factory not just based on the price. It might be the middle price. It mightn't be the cheapest. It might be the more expensive. If we go for the cheapest, we can almost guarantee that if there is an issue, which there always is an issue, they won't support us. If we go for the more expensive supplier, we know that they are purchasing that product and just adding margin probably from the cheaper supplier. So there's a fine line on how you pick your supplier, because it definitely can affect your future relationship with that supplier.
For sure. I mean, that's a great breakdown that you pretty much hit every point nail head on. And what's important, and I think the reoccurring theme that we're noticing here, right, is do your due diligence, right? Work with someone who's reputable, someone who has that experience talking about exactly what you're speaking on right now. And I think that's huge. And for anyone, doing a due diligence is huge. I know you mentioned some things where people try to work in margin here or there, different agents, suppliers, etc. Another question we have here, Alan, are agents and suppliers drop shipping products for manufacturers as well? How does that work, that whole back end process?
The majority of agents drop ships from factories. So they are not factories. They will usually tell you they are. They will, give you all the spiel, send pictures, etc. But they are drop shipping from factories. And that's the issue here. So if you're a drop shipper, usually you don't mind fulfilling your orders for a few days until your agent gets the products, right? That's usually how it goes, unless you hold stock as a drop shipper. But if your agent is also drop shipping, at some point during your scale time, the factory is going to run out of stock, and your agent's supplier is going to take longer than it usually has, especially coming into busy holiday seasons, Q4. And that's where you're going to get screwed. And that's where a lot of people I know who drop ship, a lot of friends that used to drop ship and now crossed over into full 100% branding. That's where they used to get screwed in the past. That, for 8 months of the year, they could get the product after 4 days. No problem. Everything's fine. Then you come into Q4, a lot of other drop shippers are selling your products, and all of a sudden there's no stock. You're scaling, you're 1,000 orders behind, and you can't fulfill them. And it's 2 weeks before you get stock. And then you see the chargebacks coming through, your Facebook score starts to drop, you're afraid to scale. And that's when a lot of customers actually come to our company. We only hear from new customers, when they've gone through either a huge quality problem or when they start to scale and their current agent can't keep up with fulfillment.
A question that's piggybacking off that: how do you know if the agent is drop shipping? We just got that question down below. Is there an indicator, something that you can use to tell?
So back in the day when I was starting out, we wouldn't drop ship, but we asked them like how many units do they have in stock. Just get your agent to take a picture with today's date on a piece of paper or a live video and send it to you on WeChat or Skype, however you talk to these guys, like showing you the quantity in stock, saying, yes, it's today's date, this is what's in stock. Get them to do that every 2 days. If they don't do that, or it takes them 2 days to get back to you, or even 24 hours, that means they've asked their supplier to go into the back of the warehouse and take a picture of the piece of paper with today's date. If they say they're a supplier in a factory, they should be in the factory, right? So they just need to walk downstairs, take a quick picture. Should take them 30 minutes. Any longer than that, they are drop shipping from somewhere else.
Yeah,
and you
just call them out.
Yeah. Now it can work. I know people who did really well and using an agent, and they don't want to change, and they know that their agent gets the products from all over the place. But I believe that's then a relationship. They built a relationship. They understand what's going on. But unfortunately, Justin, you and me know most of these agents lie. They just want to take your money. They charge you in advance. We charge our customers after the fact. So we fulfill all our products. So we can't lie to our customers. So if you can build that relationship with your agent that, hey, I want credit terms. So if you're going to ship my products, I need to see tracking numbers update, and I'll pay you when they start updating. Then that will build a completely different relationship with your agent.
As you guys can see, Alan is literally filled with golden value. Anything he says, you just got to write down, right? So get into that habit. We're going to be having him here a lot more as well. And guys, give it up for Alan down below. Absolute stud of a businessman. And again, thank you so much, Alan, for actually hopping on today, guys. Definitely say thanks down below. We want to see Alan come back here to give us some more incredible value. And any final remarks that you got, my friend, would love to hear them, and then we could kind of cap up.
No, just thank you, Justin. Just you guys are doing fantastic stuff out there. I see your comments, I see your reviews, I see the content you're putting out. You're fully involved with your team and your members. Just love it. Like, let's just continue to do this. If ever you want me to jump on again, coming into Q1, that's a whole Chinese New Year is a great call to have, because that's a stock issue in itself. Factories close down for a month, and you can't stop your business for a month. So I think that's a great topic that we could maybe look at in the future.
Alan, I'm wishing you a massively successful Q4 ahead, my friend. I'm sure you don't even need any massive success wishes, because you're going to freaking crush it. But, I'm definitely wishing you do absolutely phenomenal. Best of luck. Keep me updated. If you need us for anything, we'll always be here. We're always just a text away, my friend.
Great. Thank you so much, Justin. Thanks for having me.